Hmm. It says it'll share to my story. Um. Hmm. Testing 1 2. All right. Getting ready to go live with Xavier Thomas. I'm your host, Darshaun McAway. I host WowPodcast. That is a podcast that is dedicated to authors, writers, and illustrators across the entire globe. WOW stands for Writers On Worldwide. And of course, podcast is podcast. So we're going to talk to Xavier Thomas about his book, It's Just Us. It's published by DMAC Poetry Publishing House. This is a poetry book. And I just so happen to own that publishing company. So we're going to speak to Xavier Thomas. We've been meaning to put this interview together for quite some time, but due to the pandemic, everybody has rescheduled their in-person interviews to doing over the phone, phone conferences or videos, if you will. So hopefully we can get Xavier on. Let's see what happens. See if I can send him a message here. Hold on. How do I pin? Let's see something here. How do I pin it though? How do you pin a message? It's weird. Nope. That's it. We're gonna wait just a moment here. Let me get Xavier on. Let's invite him in. All right. Use this camera. All right. Did you see it when you closed out? Did you see that little arrow pointing down and it said save?
Mm-mm.
No, I didn't see it either. I know it'll let me share it to my story. I got to figure out how people are saving other people's live streams.
I wonder if it's them being able to record. Huh. I'm curious now. I'm trying to figure it out myself.
It's all good. If I'm not able to save it, we'll just do it again because the more, of course, the more you keep on talking about your book, the better.
Yeah.
So, what I'm going to do is let me clear up my screen down here, and we're going to get started. How do I get this out of the way? My bad. All right, here we go. All right, hello and welcome. I'm your host, Darshaun McAway. You're tuned in to Wow Podcast. By all means, go to wowpodcast.me. That's WOWPODCAST.me. Now, today we're speaking to none other than Xavier Thomas. We're going to talk about his book, It's Just Us, which was recently published roughly about a month ago. But due to this pandemic, we had to push a lot of things to the side. So, without any further ado, I want to welcome you to Xavier Thomas.
I thank you. I
What's up,
appreciate
Playboy?
it. Thank you. So,
So tell me this before we get into the book. What's been happening, man? What's the latest that's been going on with
truth be told, honestly, I've just been keeping in my word, honestly, just looking at other poets, reading their poetry as well as mine, and actually making new poetry more and more. I've actually been working on the second, third, and fourth book, and probably thinking about either bringing it all out, year by year, one by one. Just doing things like that to keep myself, just occupied and just working really hard, really just working on my craft each and every day. And if I'm not
you? Right.
doing that, then I'm either resting or, trying to work out to do something. But for the most part, just staying to being the young Arthur, so.
Yeah, yeah,
This is actually pretty dope. So I even got the book myself as well over here. So every time I reread my stuff, and I always think about all the people who really helped me out with this. It really is not just me. When I say it's just us, like it's literally all of us that created
right,
this. So yeah,
right, right.
very appreciative.
I got you. Well, I listen. I tell you what, man. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your hustle. I know what you're doing. Now is the perfect time for you to write as many books as possible because when
Mhm.
everything gets back to normal, now you'll have a nice archive of some content to put out. But let's talk about It's Just Us, man. So I know you on a different level, but to people who are going to watch this now and later on, why don't you give them a little oversight of what was the main reason why you wanted to start writing poetry in the first place?
Well, honestly, I felt like my generation stopped loving, and so because of that, we didn't. I don't think we had a correct or right direction of love because we just seen so much crazy nonsense going on in this world, and so I just wanted to go back to the days of making people aware of what love is, what it can look like, what can be deceiving, and what can be true. What I've learned is that loving yourself is more important and that should be the first thing, always and foremost, and then you begin to also love others when you love
Right,
yourself first. And there's nothing selfish at all about it. You're supposed to just love yourself, period. When you love yourself, you become better, you do better. You become this person that you never thought that you can be. Like me, for an example, I never thought I would be writing a book. But when I
right,
found out more about myself and took the time out to say, hey, like this is what I like, and like just the little things, then I started to bloom more. And then the day came when it was just time for me to write this book, and then I ended up realizing that, hey, I'm really good at this, but I know I have to do better, so I worked on it, and that's what happened.
right. Now, it really is a good book, and I'm happy to be a part of it. But
Mhm.
most importantly, I'm happy to talk to you about your story. One of the main things I notice about when people write poetry is they come from like these certain aspects of their lives where it's like either it has like a trauma in their past life or a lot of romance that they're trying to get to or get over.
Yeah.
So what made you want to come out with the title It's Just Us? Like what was that really about? Like what was that mind frame to put it on the book cover first?
Um, Honestly, when I realized that it's not about me. It's literally about me and a person, or me and a group of people. Like we all just come together as one, and I started to build a bond and a relationship with them. Whether it's being a friend, best friend, your father figure, mother figure, and whether if it's even me being in a relationship or whatever the case may be. That's how that kind of came about, which is us. And so I wanted to tell my story of what I've been through, what I've seen, what I've witnessed, what I not only just me, but also what I witnessed with my friends and family over the years, over the course of my life. And I must say I've experienced a lot. It is definitely a crazy roller coaster for sure.
Yeah, I think after reading this book, I think it pretty much sums up a lot of your experiences as a young man.
Yeah.
Um, I get it, and that was part of the reason why I really wanted to be a part of it. I understand where you're coming from. So tell me this: what would you say to someone who is in the process of trying to write a poetry book? Like, what would you say to them? What was some of the first steps you took?
Um, well, one of the first things I've learned is that you first, for one and foremost, you have to be consistent. If you say you're going to do something, do it and continue to do it. It's not going to be an easy road because there's going to be days where you want to give up, just like I have. You're going to be in the process of the beginning where you're going to be like, oh, this is great. Like everything is starting to work really well. And then you're going to have your down days, which is, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, and then your mind play tricks on you. So one of the main things you have to do, you have to be consistent. And then on top of that, secondly, you have to have faith within yourself and also in your product or your book or whatever you're creating. Because if you don't, then 9 times out of 10, or even 10 out of 10, you're just not going to do it. You're just going to procrastinate and say, "Oh, I'll do it later. Or I'll do it later." And you never get it done. You never get your project done. I would say talk to other people, have a good team. Having a team is so important and so critical, especially in times like this, because you need people to motivate you, but more importantly, you also need to motivate yourself. And that's where that self-love comes in as well. You need a whole team, whether it's one person to 100 people, those people that'll support you and say, "Hey, you can do this, you got this, I believe in you." Like that goes a long way, whether it's friends, family, no matter what it is, you need to have a solid team behind your back. Also, you need to check in with yourself as an individual. And this is when the self-love comes in, where you say, hey, you start asking yourself really questions like, hey, do I really want to do this? Is this something that I really, is this something that I can really do? Is this something that I can accomplish? And when you tell yourself, yes, you can do it, you can really, really do anything you set your mind to. It's just discipline, hard work, and being just consistent about it, and also communicating with not just yourself but others as well. So those are the steps that I've also taken. I've taken also the steps of even talking to other people that've also written poetry, that's also written books, that's also just been around other local artists and things like that. Because how else are you going to get better if you're not around people who are doing the same thing as you? You
Right.
have to be, you just have to be there. So there's literally a lot of ways, but I would mostly say definitely being consistent, communicate, and just having faith within yourself mainly. You'll be just fine.
Got you. I got you. So, so tell me, I still want to focus on this book, but some of the other books that you've written, have you put titles to them, or you just kind of just got them set in place?
I would say I got them set in place as of right now. No title. I'm still working on those as of right now. Well, the second one, I will call it Bond, but the third and fourth one, it's still out there, honestly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, but I'm
yeah.
definitely working on the next three for sure. I can't wait, honestly.
I
But
got you. I got you. So, on this downtime, have you been able to figure out how to put a marketing plan together that once everything starts to pick back up, you're going to go full throttle, or you're still kind of working it out?
I would say a little bit of both. I have been having a few ideas of how to market myself more and get my brand out there, and create not only just books but also like t-shirts or like a hat or maybe some socks maybe that says "It's Just Us" on there. I know a lot of people would definitely love the t-shirts for sure. I've
Yeah,
gotten a lot of good ratings and good reviews on that. Um, and it's also just, you know, it's a possibility that I may have to relocate. And if that's what has to happen in order for me to build this brand, and that's what I have to do. And just also not only connect with certain people, some like my close friends, but I have to connect to people like strangers that I don't know, and then and associate myself with them, and get out of my comfort zone. So
yeah.
it's a lot of ways that you can do this.
Got you. Got you. Yeah, this situation that we're going through with this pandemic really changed up a lot of the stratosphere.
Yeah,
But I want to tell everybody else that this book, It's Just Us, it's not only available in a retail copy, but it's also
yeah,
available as an ebook. So you can get
yeah,
it a lot cheaper than the retail copy. Retail copy is $8.99. The download is $2.99. So you can get
yeah,
it instantaneously. You had I wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to get that changed over as quick as possible. Because at first that wasn't the goal. At first the goal was like to get as many books in people's hands as possible. Then
yeah.
when we found out that everything was happening, it was like, oh, we got to do a download.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we did too. We had to change something really, really quickly and really, really
Yeah.
fast. So yes, absolutely,
Right. And
absolutely.
if you want to get the download, you got the download in your link on Instagram.
Yes,
Okay.
all you have to do is just go to my page, and it's literally right there. You click on the link, it directly sends you to the website. Um, and definitely also big shout outs to you as well for helping me out, man. I couldn't have really
For
done
sure.
it without you. So
For sure.
yeah,
You know what I got to do after this interview is over with? I got to go ahead and put your book link up on the podcast site because I get a
hmm
lot of traffic to the podcast site as well. Because a lot of people try to get on, talk to me about their book, and I send out a
yeah,
newsletter. And we're going to also put your book in the newsletter too, because I send out a weekly newsletter letting people know, what book is coming out, who is brand new, who's been out a few years ago, that type of deal.
yeah,
But since you're a part of the company, we take care of you anyway. you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get you straight now. We're gonna get you situated. But so was there anything that you would like for people to know about this book in general?
Honestly, when you get the book, you are going to notice a lot of different things that, like I said, I thought I've either been through or seen or heard. Um, you will get to know a little bit more about me as well and my life. And also, you get to know the people that I've interacted and dealt with. So, more importantly, like the book is really, truly phenomenal. And honestly, all I can really say is that I'm truly happy it came out. Please go buy the book if you haven't. I still have copies. And honestly, I hope you really enjoy it because I enjoy it. I enjoy this whole journey, this whole process of the good times, bad times, the struggle, um, just being consistent. And I can honestly say that I'm an author, which is truly amazing. So I'm still a rookie, but this is just only the beginning to another bigger blessing after this, for
Right,
sure.
right. Now, okay, great. That's a great description of the book. I think you hit it right on the head. Now, I want to get into a little bit of the business aspect about this. I
Hmm.
want to try to this interview as long as possible. Now,
Hmm.
from the business aspect, you had mentioned coming out with hats,
Yeah.
socks, t-shirts, and I know
Yes.
things are slowing down. Um, and now this comes from my publishing hat towards you. This is kind of letting people know a little inside tip on some things. Are
Hmm.
you going to do some audio of this book?
Absolutely. I have been working on that for the longest. Actually, I've been working on it ever since I've written the book. As I was writing the book, it is difficult. That is the most difficult thing that I have
Yeah,
ever experienced in my life because the way that I'm doing it is I don't want to just have my voice in it. I
right.
want to have multiple different voices. I want you to see it in multiple different views. So, like for example, I have one poem that I'm going to speak in Spanish. I have a lady speaking Spanish. I have another poem where I've actually had somebody sing it, in a different way, in a different tone, and you're gonna be like, oh, this is just amazing. This is awesome. So I want it to be so creative that I don't want you to just hear one voice. Like, no, all of our voices needs to be heard. So when I say it's us, that's exactly what I mean. That it's all of us.
Got you. I
So
got you.
yeah.
A lot of times when and I'm not going to say that I haven't been working behind the scenes for you. I'm
Hmm.
definitely doing that. But a part of like what's happening, I've noticed a big shift. I said, well, now we have to basically work through the internet, which is what we're going to always do anyway.
Yeah.
But how do we get more people engaged? So we got
Yeah.
the downloads. We're going to help you put together the audio book whenever you get that situated of who you want to say what and
Yeah.
when you have the structure. But I know that for books now in general, audio books, being on someone's podcast, talking about the books, making it available through a download is just more accessible to people.
Yeah.
So here's my marketing hat. Part of my marketing hat was to tell you like, hey, you might want to think about putting some merchandise, with this, and keeping it and turning that book into a business. That's my whole thing is turning books into businesses, and
Right.
where you can, capitalize on a retail merch, just in case. Well, this is not to say that it won't do good, but this is from my experience. Just in case the book don't do as well, the merchandise will. And
Right.
that's typically what happens. Like the merchandise will take off a lot more than the book, but people understand that the merchandise came from the book. So it kind of balances itself out, but at the same time, you want everything to sell as much as possible.
Exactly.
So, um, are you going to put some, maybe not a whole bunch, but just put some videos together of you reciting some of the poetry, just kind of showing people like a little bit more of who you are and what you have to offer?
Yes, absolutely. Anything and everything will helps. Definitely, for sure. That's
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few poems in here that I know people would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And just to kind of see from the author's perspective, I think you have a great opportunity to actually bring the world back to a different ship.
Hmm.
A big part of the reason why I chose to be a part of this book was because as I was reading through the poetry, I started to realize from my own past experiences of what I was trying to get people to to read more, to connect more, for everybody to kind of come together. And to be honest with you, the title is fitting for the time, and the book is fitting for the time. It's
Mm-hmm.
like everyone is going through this thing right now. It's like it's just us. We know nothing else outside of this, outside of the stratosphere. It's like, hey, it's
Yeah.
time for everybody to come together. It's just us, working on this thing. So my question would be, I guess, man, when you gonna hit everybody with the sauce, man? When you gonna give them? When you gonna pull everybody together, man? Pull them together, man. Do the videos. Let's
Uh,
let's get something going.
soon. I won't give all the details, but I would say soon, definitely soon. So we'll be working on that.
I tell you what. So tell me some of the aside from my personal opinion about it. Tell me some of other people's reviews about the book. What have they been saying about it so far?
To tell you the truth, I've had not really gotten any bad reviews at all. Um, Honestly, everybody said they loved it. They really did. They loved because it was so original. It was so raw. It was like its own brand new character, and it kind of just shocked me because I was really nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was really nervous. This, first book ever. You don't know how people are gonna react. You don't know, but a lot of people just something like, oh, the book was great. I love how this is my favorite poem, or prime example. What was it? Like Recycle. Recycle was the last poem in the back of the book, and a lot of people said, wow, like it really changed my mind over a lot of things, of the stuff that I've even been through or that I went through, and
Right.
then just talking about, I had a category where I'm just talking about her and like sensitivity 1 through 5, and people was just like, oh, so this is what you dream about when you're talking about having your wife, your future wife, or your future girlfriend, or whoever you're going to be with, things like that. So a lot of people really said that, yo, I love this poetry, I love that poetry. The most difficult one that I will say everybody had was from A to Z, when I had it going vertically.
Yeah.
I had to explain that because they got confused at first. I said, listen, I'm describing myself from A to Z, but instead of doing horizontal, I'm doing it vertically, like if it was like the Matrix. So it
Right.
was like, oh, there's like, I kind of realized that afterwards. It was the most funniest conversation of all. But they said that was the most like creative, but most difficult one that they said that they had. But all the other ones, they said they loved it, honestly.
Yeah. I got you. All right. So I'm gonna switch gears just a little bit.
All right.
Let's talk about the current standing of things right now.
Mhm.
How are you holding up overall? Like, how are you really doing?
Honestly, I'm doing really good, keeping my sanity level to the best of the best, and just really just, staying focused whether I'm at work, or, whether I'm at work, working here from home, or, I go walking around and things like that. I'm holding myself pretty good, man. It is kind of sad that we have to stay in this quarantine a little bit longer than expected, but, it is what it is, so you can't do nothing about it. Um,
Yeah.
I can honestly I can honestly say that it actually, being in quarantine, it actually helped me realize not just more about myself, but also what else I can do as well. So I would say I'm doing really good. And what about you yourself?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm nervous. I'm
Yeah,
nervous on. I'm nervous on levels of I don't know. I know what I can do personally and how my family's going to be structured coming out of this, but
yeah,
I don't know how the rest of the world is just going to snap back. It's a lot of
yeah,
stuff that I'm seeing. It's a lot of things that I'm seeing on the inside of the industry, of all business industries, and how
yeah,
they're going to change the dynamics of how we function. And
yeah,
the fact that we were able to just shut things down within a matter of hours, that's what makes me nervous, because it makes me go, okay, what makes this virus so much more different than the rest of them, aside from the fact that other viruses have killed more people, type of
hmm,
deal? It's like, okay, what happens next? Like, what's the next move forward? I don't know what's the next move going forward. I don't even know if I'm the person that's supposed to even dictate that, but
right,
I'm nervous on that level. Like, I believe, I have faith that everything is going to, bounce back, but I'm just nervous about how things are going to be moving forward in like the food industry, the retail industry, because they believe it or not, as you can see, since there's nowhere to go, these clothing stores and restaurants are a big factor of our lives.
It really
You know, a
is.
huge factor. You know, and to be honest with you, after a while, there's only so much to do at home anyway.
That's
You
true.
know, part of the reason of living life is to get out and to go socialize with other people.
And
So
eventually,
now they're saying that what they're preferring for people to do is to keep up the social distancing. And
yeah,
then I started thinking about, this was me in a joking way. I started thinking about, okay, so the COVID-19 testing is going to be the new standard for the AIDS HIV testing. When people say you've been tested,
yeah,
it's like, I'm not
yeah,
going to talk to you. I'll let you if you ain't been tested. That's where my
yeah,
mind went. When I was like, oh, okay, so the COVID-19 testing is replacing the STD testing or whatever. Because
right.
I talking to Stephanie and I say so what the single people gonna do now when they trying to meet with somebody? Are they gonna be like, hey, you got tested? And they're not talking about the AIDS testing. It's like the COVID-19 testing. So
That
yeah,
is
so
so
that's
true.
where I'm at with it.
That's true.
But
Yeah,
other than that, I get it. If you're a believer, you believe. But at the
yeah,
same time, I would be remiss to say that I'm not nervous about how life is going because I've never seen nothing like this ever.
yeah, yeah. And I have to agree with you because right now it is very uncomfortable situation right now. Definitely for sure. There's really nothing we can honestly do about it. All you can do is just if you believe that and you have faith, then that's all you can really do and just try to maintain your level and just keep a level mind headed and just focus and just continue to just call your family, tell them hey you love them, talk to your friends every now and then if you not even if you have to FaceTime them, 6 feet apart always, everything. But yeah, this is really uncomfortable. I don't know what's going on. I keep hearing on the news that there's so many deaths happening that, I had to turn off the news, because I was just trying to keep a positive head and, so it's difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah,
It's very unexpected, man. And I don't know, we may not even have a summer. And I'm like, no, we gotta have a summer. So I was like,
right.
no, we can't keep this going. Like all they're
Yeah,
asking is just for 2 weeks for us to just be apart for 2 weeks. We can do it. But,
yeah,
some people don't. Some people don't want to be a team player and make that sacrifice. So everybody has their own mind. So
right.
that's the
I'm wondering if they need to just go ahead and make a mandatory nationwide shutdown, like really shut it down for 2 weeks and see what happens. I don't want them to do it because
yeah,
it'll make me feel like it just make me feel like, hey, somebody really got control over my life. Because here we
yeah,
don't have we don't have a curfew or a mandatory shutdown or
yeah.
whatever. But I'm wondering if we should do that up here and just say, hey, for 2 weeks, everybody just go ahead, stay home. If you absolutely need to go to the grocery store, go to the grocery store. But other than that, everything's going to be closed.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I had talked to a buddy of mine from North Carolina the other day, Mr. Charles. He was telling me the same exact thing. He said they, instead of them waiting for the quarantine or the lockdown to happen, they just automatically did it early. And
Yeah,
he says that it actually slowed down a lot since the last time I talked to him, which was about a week and a half ago or something like that. He said the North Carolina, what was the city called? Franklinton. He said they
yeah,
just automatically shut down, and they're just going to see what happens. And so once it's all said and done, hopefully the numbers go down. Hopefully everybody gets back to normal, and we can just continue our regular day lives. But until then, there's nothing we can do.
yeah. I had I'm gonna get off of it, but I wanted to say this just in case for somebody when they look at this. I did some
Yeah.
research on that virus,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, man, from the list of scientists that I looked up and the people who are giving their perspective on it after doing testing and trying to find out how to come up with the cure, so to speak. This
Yeah.
virus, what they're finding out about it is there is no cure to it. The only cure
Oh,
that seems to be happening is if your immune system can get over it or not. But
right.
I heard, well, not even heard, I read that the virus gets in your respiratory system and it does so much damage that it leaves legions on your lungs.
Oh, wow.
that's part of the reason why a lot of people are having like respiratory issues, because it has something to do with the vocal cords. I guess I want to say from the research I'm looking at, the virus lives in some of the warmth and the mucus that's developed within, you know, your throat and in your respiratory system, and then it feeds off of it.
Yeah,
And it's feeding off of it so much that people who have a low immune system, they can't handle it, they can't recover from it, type of
exactly.
deal. So yeah, yeah, so you know, you guys be safe. Of course, you be safe, but you know, it's just it's one of those things, man. And I think right now, you know, having people read material to get their mind off of it, having people
Yes.
listen to podcasts
Hmm.
and listen to audiobooks is the perfect time.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got a chance to and still be a part of helping you publish your book. But
Yes.
all credit goes to you, man. Without this, you know, it wouldn't be nothing to talk about, to be honest with you. You know,
Yeah.
I
Not
think
for
it's a great book. I know it's a great book. I can't wait to read the other ones, but for right now, it's just us. It's out right now. You can actually go to DarshaunMcAway.com and go to the author section, and you'll see this book in there and some of the other books that I've published or helped publish other authors with. And if you go to Xavier's Instagram page in his bio, he has the link to his book. It's just us. Xavier, is there anything else you want to leave off with people?
Honestly, all I really have to say is you guys just stay safe. You know, keep your loved ones close and your friends close as well. You know, tell them you love them every day because you never know where you're going to go. And just try to stay positive as much as possible. You know, as possible. And just focus. Continue to do what you do and what you love to do. And honestly, and just shine. That's all I can say. Just shine and smile. Put a smile on your face. Whatever makes you happy, put a smile on your face every day, and try to live out your last days to the best of it. That's all I can really say. But definitely stay safe for sure, and you as well, D. And also, I have to give a shout out to definitely my supporters. You guys are number one always. I couldn't have really done this without you. Definitely a shout out to my artist Anna for sure because she's the one that actually created the whole like cover. I gave her the idea and I said, look, this is exactly what I wanted from head to toe, and she just did it beautifully. She did it phenomenal. So Anna, thank you. And also to my home girl, my best friend Caitlin. She's actually the one that's actually on the cover with me. Truth be told, I love you, best friend. I appreciate you for doing that for me. You was the best. And then last but not least, my big dog, my brother Darshaun, the publisher himself, the author, the everything for me. You've been number one since day one, since 2000, I don't know what, 14, 15, since you came into my life. And
Yeah.
and without you being like this big brother, this father figure that I really look up to and adore so much, none of this would have been possible. So I got to give it
Thank
all to the most high, always.
you. Well,
So, and this is real. So,
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate
yeah, of course, I got to, man. Because like I said, it's not just me. It's really all of us in this together.
it. Yeah. Well, you know, I told you, man, I'll show you how to get some of this money, man.
You did, you
As long
did,
as I,
man.
hey, as long as I ain't lie about it, you know what I'm saying? As long as I ain't lie about
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I did not expect to do crazy numbers within the first month, and then I know it kind of slowed down because of this virus. But I mean, even still, like people still, I see some people still posting it, some people still talking about it a little bit,
it. Yeah.
you know, and they're actually reading like, oh my God, this is actually really good, you know. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys so much for doing this for me. Seriously.
For sure. For sure. We're gonna look out for you. I got some stuff. Me and you got to get together. We got to talk some more, but we got to go ahead and start pushing this a little bit more. And
Definitely.
take advantage
Absolutely.
of everybody being at home right now. But yeah. So anyway, I'm your host Darshaun McAway. You're listening to WowPodcast.me. Go to WOWPODCAST.me to check out every episode that I've ever come out with. We're speaking to author Xavier Thomas. We're talking about his book, his new book, It's Just Us. It's available right now. If you go to DarshaunMcAway.com, you can click on the author tab and you'll see this in there. Also, if you go to Xavier Thomas's profile page, You'll see the link in his bio. Xavier, man, thank you so much for your time, man.
Hey, likewise, likewise. And you stay safe out there, brother. Appreciate you. Much love.
Sure. I'm going to I'm gonna log off of here, man. I'm gonna see if I can save this video. So when I get off of here, I'm gonna be like hella busy trying to grab this footage and put it over to YouTube and Facebook. I gotta figure out how to do this the right way.
For sure, for sure. Definitely. You guys stay safe and talk to you guys.
All right, peace.
Peace.